My name is Sarah and welcome to my knitting podcast. I'm coming to you today from a very gloomy Edinburgh, and I've been doing a ton of knitting over the past 2 weeks as I've been recovering from surgery, which is going pretty well as I could have hoped. I don't have any finished objects, but I've got some really good works in progress, so I'm just gonna start. I bought some travel pouches from Bagu to pack my suitcase with, but I've been using them as knitting bags until I have to actually pack up my suitcase. So this is one of them, and it fits this jumper project that I've been working on, but it is a little bit rustly, so sorry about that. But this is a whip that you've seen before. I've made pretty good progress on it. It is the Wave Sweater. I'll put the name of the designer and a picture, one of the designer's pictures on the screen so that you can see. And I've mashed up the color work from the Wave Sweater with the beautiful raglan shaping of the Doppio sweater, which I will also put on the screen so that you can see that as well. It's a little bit of a haphazard mashup. I didn't quite do all of the maths, and I didn't worry too much about it when I was casting it on, but I think that it's really nice so far, and it's turning out really well. So here you go. It was a really similar color to the jumper that I'm wearing now, which I should tell you about, but I'll tell you about this after I tell you about this. So I'm knitting this with 2 strands of Nutidin for each color, held with a lace-weight alpaca. The one I'm using is Alpaca 1 from Iziger, and I don't remember the colors off the top of my head. I think this is Thyme, and this is Peacock, but I'm not sure. But they don't have a huge number of colors, so if you are looking for these specifically, the ones that you think they are probably the ones that they are. And I'm using a bunch of different colors of Nutidin that I've collected over the years on this. The background color was a light green, I think from summer or spring 2022. And it's it's a bit desaturated, and it's a really beautiful light green. It's sort of somehow both on the yellow and the blue side. I don't know if that's possible, but to me, sometimes I look at it and it looks pretty blue, and then sometimes I look at it and it pulls quite yellow. So it's quite an interesting background color. And then the color work color is a combination of 3 different colorways. This medium sort of electric-y blue is Val, which was the first color of Nutidin that I ever bought. This, well, that's it mixed, but here it is. This is Botanisca, and then this dark green is Skostra. And I've just sort of mixed them, blended them through the whole thing, and I initially had planned on blending the background color as well, but then when I was knitting it, I really liked the way that the background color was looking just plain, so I decided not to. And I didn't have any colors that I thought would go well with the background color, to blend. I did short rows as in the Doppio sweater, but I just elongated the first wave to fit it. I made some mistakes over here with the colorwork placement. I'll just duplicate stitch those when I'm done. I changed my mind about how I wanted to do the waves in the raglan. I had initially just planned on doing a complete wave when I was able to, but then that got a little bit complicated to figure out. So I just started doing it, and I'll go back in and fix that when I'm done. Or maybe I won't, to be honest. It looks quite harsh on here, but I guess it just depends on how I'm feeling. So this past fortnight, I've finished the body, and I've redone the neck, and I've started on one of the sleeves. And finishing my body took a really long time. I am making this for my dad, it has been decided. And so I kept getting him to try it on and telling me if he would want it longer or shorter. First I measured his favorite jumper, which actually also started as a jumper I had bought for myself from the men's section at Uniqlo, but it's sort of in the wash it got adopted by him, and he has worn it so much that it's his now. No hard feelings. So I measured that and knit to that length, but it didn't seem long enough, but that's quite drapey, thin fabric. And this is very, very thick. So I asked him to try it on because since I had a breast reduction so recently, I can't really lift my arms up to try on a sweater. This was like 2 weeks ago. I can do it now. But yeah, so I got some good advice about what length to make it without him knowing that it was going to be for him. And I knit it to that length, and then I added a very long corrugated ribbing at the end. And I love corrugated rib. It matches the corrugated rib at the neckline. And I cycled through the different colors, my different contrast colors for the background for that. And I don't think I went down a needle size for the rib at the bottom, but I went down 2 needle sizes for the bind off, which I did just a regular bind off inside out with a much smaller needle. It's got a little bit of stretch to it, but to be honest, the jumper itself doesn't have that much stretch to it since it's all over color work. So the bind off is fine. I also went back in. I've grown, the neck style has grown on me, the mock neck sort of standing up straight, but I went back in and I redid the last few rows with a smaller needle again, actually with a 2.25 millimeter needle, which was very small because it was gaping, and I think that it is a lot better now. And my dad said that he really liked it, so since it's for him, I'll trust that. And he said he liked it when he didn't know it was for him, so he wasn't being polite. Now I'm onto the sleeve. I have only done about 5 or 6 rows on, oops, I'm all tangled, on the sleeve so far. I have 66 grams of the light green left. I don't know if that's going to be enough for both sleeves, but I'll come to that problem when I come to it if I run out. I really don't know if that's going to be enough. This altogether is about 500 grams. So I don't know. And I only have a little bit left of this vibrant blue, but I think that it'll be enough. Definitely enough to make it look good. I'm planning on doing minimal decreases on the sleeves, but making them a bit longer if I have enough yarn for it, because this is probably going to be mostly worn playing golf. So I want to, have enough wiggle room in there. This is only the second all over colorwork sweater that I've ever made. The last one and the only other one was also all over knitted in colorwork, and that one was a gift from my boyfriend. So it's quite an involved process, but I've been enjoying it. I made this at a denser gauge. I'm using 4 millimeter needles on this, and my gauge is actually off by 2 stitches per 4 inches, so half a stitch per inch based on the gauge in the Doppio pattern, which I think means mine is going to be a bit smaller, but it fits my dad perfectly. I don't need to worry about the fit because I know that it fits him. Oh, I dropped a few stitches. And I think he's really gonna love it. It's really exciting just to make something that I know is going to be so well received. I honestly don't think it would take me very long to finish it. I haven't worked on this for the past week. I just really don't like knitting sleeves on this sort of thing. The project is so cumbersome, I kind of have to pick it up and readjust maybe 3 times around, at least at this early point in the sleeve, because there's really no give, and that's pretty annoying. And then I have like all of these different balls, well, it's attached to 4 different balls of wool, a nudidin and an alpaca of each color. And the nudidin, if it gets snagged when I'm moving it around, it sometimes tears, and then I have to reincorporate it. So it's a little bit of a burdensome sleeve process, but it really isn't going to take me very long to finish. And I kind of want to do it today. Like, I could probably do 3/4 of a sleeve in one evening of knitting. So I think that I will commit to doing it. Next time I record a podcast, I will show you a finished object. I promise. So yeah, that's everything I think that I have to say about this. I have been loving the Doppio pattern. Totally recommend if you're looking for an Aran worsted weight pattern with really nice raglan increases. I think I would like to make it again if I ever wanted to do a plain jumper. It's definitely beautifully designed, really easy to follow. I stopped following at the end of the raglan increases because I wanted to make it just straight down in the body, and I might follow some of the sleeve decreases as well though. But yeah, totally recommend that pattern. I know in my past nudidin jumper I'd followed the Semper sweater by the Knit Pearl Girl, and I found that one quite frustrating to follow because it was almost over-explained unless you're a total beginner. I'm sure it would be great if you were a total beginner because it's very thorough, but for me it was explained to the point of confusion, and I didn't have that issue with this jumper. So yeah. My wave sweater. I can't speak on the pattern for the wave sweater because I didn't buy it. I just drew up in Stitch Fiddle what I thought the chart most looked like. And so yeah, mine probably isn't exactly what the chart is. It's probably off by a couple rows, but I don't mind. I think I got the idea, and I don't want to fall into the trap that I fell into last time, which was that I took a 6-month-long break before I did the sleeves. So I'm gonna get on it. I'll tell you about what I'm wearing. I'm wearing the Arboreal sweater by Jennifer Steingass. I made this in 2019. I started it in the summer, at the end of July, and I finished it in early September. And a lot of exciting things were happening in my life as I was knitting this, so I remember very clearly where I was as I did every part, which is kind of nice. It's very cropped. I'll show you. And I did sort of balloon sleeves, which have very rapid decreases, and then very tight cuffs. It's knit in Rowan Felted Tweed. I don't remember the color names, but it's quite a low contrast, and it looks quite high contrast in the video right now as I can see it. But when I was knitting, it was almost hard to see which stitches were which green. It was the first low contrast color work that I'd ever done, and I just have loved it ever since. It has been a piece that I've kept in Edinburgh, so it's got like a crease on the sleeves because it was a bit small for me. It still is a little bit small. Like I now prefer I still love a cropped jumper, but this is quite an extreme crop jumper. And the sleeves are a little bit tight, but having a breast reduction has meant that this sweater fits me a little bit better. Obviously, it's not why I did it, but it has helped a little bit, made it a little bit more wearable. That's a hidden bonus. and I really enjoy this fabric. It's knit at a much looser gauge than I would probably choose to knit it now. I think felted tweed is sometimes sold as a DK, but sometimes sold as a sport weight. It's definitely on the lighter side, and I made it in using I think the pattern calls for DK yarn, and I don't think I swatched. I bought the yarn at a store in Boston that I had never been to before. I don't remember the name. And then I knit the yoke in Provincetown, and I finished it in Oxford, where I was living for a month because I did a publishing course there in 2019. And so yeah, lots of good memories wearing this and knitting it, and I wore it a lot over the years. And yeah, so it was fun to pull this out of my cupboard. Felted tweed is a little bit, it doesn't feel rustic, but you can feel that it is felted. And as someone who hasn't worn a lot of felted stuff, it's quite an interesting hand feel. And I love tweed. I think tweed is like really in right now. Everyone's knitting with the Noro Sake yarn, which is beautiful. And then I think there's an Isegur tweed that's really popular as well. Yeah, I love this. It's beautiful, and I'll probably keep it here. But yeah, it was exciting to wear today. I also made my grandmother a matching one because she saw mine and really liked it and asked me if I would make her one. And I wore that in an episode in October that I recorded in October. And for a while we had matching jumpers, and she really loved hers. So that was a really nice thing. She passed away in early October, late September. So I sort of got that jumper back after she died and have it, and it fits me perfectly. So it's nice to have that. A lot of things remind me of her, but it's nice that I also have the jumper that I made for her, because she made everyone in the family a lot of jumpers, including me. So that's another thing that I think about when I wear this. And it's a sad memory, but a nice one. So yeah. Arboreal. Jennifer Steingass is a really popular knitwear designer, so I'm sure lots of people talk about her, but the pattern was very easy to follow. And I love a chart. I've seen a couple really beautiful versions that have like autumn colors faded in the leaves, which is very beautiful. And I like how many different variations that I've seen. I have 2 more works in progress to show you. 1 jumper and 1 pair of socks. So I'll start with the jumper because I think that is more fun. So I don't remember if it was on Ravelry or Instagram, probably Ravelry, that Orlane Sucche released a new pattern recently, and I really like her designs, and I really liked the new pattern, and I couldn't stop myself from casting on. I really didn't intend on casting on another jumper because I haven't finished I wanted to call it the loop sweater, but it's the wave sweater. I haven't finished this, so I shouldn't have cast on a new one until I finished those sleeves, but I did. And I used yarn that I had in stash. It was a present from my dad about 2 years ago, a year and a half ago. It's Cheviot Marsh Aran weight. And he got me 3 different colors. These 2 plus like a plum. It's like a dark pink red color. It's not like purple like a plum. It's a maroon. Maybe a bit more pink than maroon. I don't know. So I have 4 of these 2 colors and 3 of the maroon. And I didn't really like the colors together. I'm not really a blue person. I wear a lot of like maroon and pink, but there wasn't enough of it to make a jumper. And I had always thought that I would turn this into a shawl for someone, maybe like my boyfriend's mom who loves this color, or make a scarf or something. But then I just really liked the way these 2 look together, and I wanted to make something striped. And I was thinking like quite thin stripes, and a garment that had a lot of drape, not necessarily in the fabric, because this isn't a very drapey yarn. It's a little bit crunchy. Can you hear that? Probably not. But it's not a drapey yarn, but this pattern that I have been making, that Janni, Janni, is this very oversized, deep yoke. And the fabric has all of these like natural creases in it because it's got so much, the jumper has all these creases because it has so much fabric. And I just thought that would look amazing in stripes and have so much like movement and be very exciting. I remember in art class when I was younger, drawing tartan tablecloths as an exercise that we did quite often. And I always loved drawing the tablecloths and seeing how the folds in the fabric changed the way that the tartan was laid out, and I just sort of wanted to recreate that in a jumper. I had this urge, and I've had stripes on the mind for a while, so yeah, that was sort of the inspiration. And I was looking through the project pictures of this new pattern. It's sort of a saddle shoulder, and then it turns into an almost sweatshirty look. Anyway, I couldn't resist. And even though these are not necessarily my colors that I wear, I love the way they look together in the stripe. So let me just show you what I've got. I haven't finished the yoke. In fact, I'm nowhere near finishing the yoke, but it's quite rolly. Before you say it, before you comment, I know that this is exactly what the new host of Blue's Clues wears, and I like that. So he wears this exact stripe, like these colors. So here it is, you can see the saddle shoulder. I also love the way the stripes look with the saddle shoulder increases. That's the good stuff to me, because this is all knit seamlessly. It's not like I made the Lakes pullover, and that one you knit the saddles first, and then I don't remember how you connect them, but in this you just cast them at the back and you form everything through short rows and increases. And I love the way that I managed to get the stripes to look in the short rows at the front. I did the first round just in navy, and then I did German short rows pulled quite tight to make these stripes in the portion that was knit flat. And then I've hidden the color change in this side. Yeah, in this increase line. So you can see on the inside that there's where my color changes. I thought about doing helical knitting with 4 balls of yarn because I wanted the stripes to be 2 rows each and have it be truly seamless stripe-wise, but that just seemed like a big faff. And after knitting the wave sweater, I really wanted something that would be sort of fun and just slide over the needles, so I decided just to put it there, and it's working better than I could have hoped. I just love this project. The light blue is so much more saturated than I thought it was, just looking at it in the skein. And the navy is very desaturated for a navy, so, and the combination is really beautiful. I feel like I have heart eyes. I'm in love with this project, and it's gonna reinvent blue for me as a color. Yeah, I really love this project. It's so much fun. The rounds are starting to get kind of long, and I have 40 more rounds until I'm done with the yoke. So here you go. You can see I'm about, oh, it's on backwards. That was the back. Okay, it's quite rolly, so it's kind of hard to show you, but this is quite good. Yeah, so you can see that I have a bit of puckering in this section. I think it's just because I was knitting on the tight side. I'm hoping that it will block out, but there's nothing I can do about it now unless I want to rip back, which I don't. The stripes, did I mention? The stripes are 2 rows each, and I'm going to go back in and put the neckline on, but I'll need to wait till the end to do that because I'm not totally sure I have enough yarn. It's a little bit difficult to say. I'm making size 5, which I think comes out to a 51 inch. And it says that that needs about 1,400 meters of yarn. The needle size, by the way, is 5 millimeters, which is quite big for me. I don't know if I guess the Nudiden I've knit at an Aran gauge, but I'm not sure I've ever made an Aran weight sweater before. That can't be true. Not recently. So I don't remember what I was saying. Oh yeah, I want to have all of the trimming in this navy, like the collar and the sleeve hem and the ribbing at the bottom, but I don't know if I'll have enough for that. I have 4 skeins of each color. Each one has 175 meters. So I think that's enough to make the sweater. I just don't know if it's enough to make the sweater and have the navy blue be all of the edges. So we'll see. I can always buy another skein of navy. It probably won't match because it's been such a long time since I got these. But if it's just for the collar and the ribbing, I don't think that will be too noticeable. I'm so excited to wear this. I really like it. I think it's been a year that I've been really wanting to do a striped thing. And yeah, this is quite an unusual project. I have in the past shied away from really deep raglans, but I think it's more like the accidental really deep raglan that I didn't want to make. And this is one that has purpose, and it's going to be quite sweatshirty and oversized. And that's the point. The pattern's written beautifully. It's super easy to follow. I think that it has a very detailed schematic, which I like. The only thing I don't know, I might crop it a little bit. I don't know the height of the person in the pictures wearing it, and I'm not quite sure how deep the yoke is going to be, so I don't know how long I'm going to want to make the body. I have 40 more rows, so that's 10 more stripes. So, you know, that's gonna be, this is only 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. This is not even half of the depth of the yoke. So yeah, I'm loving this though. I think I get really excited about most of my projects when they're brand new, but you know, here's the inside. I love the way that looks too. I do think that since the yarn is so crunchy, my knitting is a little bit less even than it normally is on this. And by this I mean stockinette, and I think that will block out, but if not, it's fine. This is the second project I've made in Cheviot Marsh, and I really like it as a yarn. I think Whistlebear is great. I really shouldn't have cast on a new jumper, especially since I brought a sweater quantity of yarn to Scotland to knit that I haven't started. Instead, I've made 2 things from yarn that I had here, but I'm just trying to live and let live, and you know, I'm recovering. I should just follow my heart. It's not like I bought anything because I've already owned this, and I'm just so enthused, so excited and enthused about it. I hope you like it too. My last project is I started the second sock of the Erika socks, which I think I showed the first one in my last video, although maybe it wasn't finished. One sec. I'm just putting this onto the sock blocker that I made out of an old shoebox a while ago. I guess this won't be the best way to really show the pattern because you can't see the leaf motif at the front. Here, if I just make it a bit squint, and here you go. There, you can see the leaf motif. So yes, I think I did have it finished for my last video, but I'm not totally sure. Last video, I was super on the sock train, and I haven't knit so many socks since then, but I have started the next one of this pair of socks. So I've done the ribbing, and yeah, I'll get onto this as I go. It's got an eye of partridge heel, which I really like. I'm loving the lace. I think it's beautiful. I'm knitting it on this yarn. I'm loving the lace. I think it's so beautiful, and I really enjoy knitting lace. And I like socks that have lace. I knit the size 2. It's a 68 cast on. I always knit the biggest size from the Lina book. Sorry, I don't think I mentioned. This Erika pattern, I will put the name of the designer on the screen. You'll have already seen it. Is from the 52 Weeks of Socks book by Lina, but it's been such a long time, I'm pretty sure that the designer sells it separately in case you would be interested in getting it separately. Yeah, it's basic. It's quite a simple pattern, other than the beautiful lace motif on the front, which is very fun to knit and makes all the difference. I like wearing lace socks. I like knitting lace socks. I have no complaints about this. The yarn is, I think it's called Forbidden Forest. It's from Sugar Plum Circus, and I bought it in 2021 in Seattle from a really cute yarn shop. I don't remember what it was called, but it had a theme of like knitting and tea. Speaking of, I bought quite a lot of yarn when I was there. It was for my boyfriend's brother's wedding, and I'm going to a bunch of weddings this coming summer. 2 of them are my boyfriend's cousins, and I wanted to finish all of the yarn that I bought at that wedding before I inevitably buy more yarn for this coming wedding. I thought that this was the last skein of yarn, but I actually bought another skein of sock yarn to I have time to knit. So that was sort of the motivation. I've really just been hoarding this because I thought that it was so beautiful. It's such a beautiful, deep forest green. That I might have said it's by Sugar Plum Circus. I think it's a 75-25 base, superwash merino, and it's just stunning to knit with. I'm using 2.25 circular needles, a magic loop, and it's so nice to knit with. Yeah, it's just a dream. The color is gorgeous. The only problem is that since it's so dark, it's quite difficult to knit at nighttime because it's hard to see what's going on, but that's not really a complaint. I really love this yarn, and if I ever, I would buy from this yarn dyer again. I bought 4 skeins of yarn from this dyer in this shop. I've used all of them, and then I have 1 skein of sock yarn from Hedgehog Fibers that I haven't used yet. So I'll do that when I get back to Philly, I think. Yeah, I've been knitting a lot from the 52 Weeks of Socks book, really enjoying it. I love sort of the delicate lace socks, and I made 2 pairs of mohair socks, which I showed in my last episode, and I'm just enjoying sort of the freedom and the wide variety of choice that there is in that one book, and I already own it, which is nice. So yeah, I'll keep going on these. This is sort of my travel project, and I was watching the Durals with my parents. We've been watching it for the past month or so, but we just finished. But every night when we watched an episode of the Durals together, I was knitting on these socks. We finished the Durals. If you haven't seen it, it's really sweet. It's based on the book by Gerald Dural, My Family and Other Animals, which was one of my absolute favorite books as a child. I remember just reading it and I couldn't control my laughter. It's about a family in the late 1930s, early 1940s, who moved to Corfu, an English family, when the dad dies. Well, he dies, and then years later, they moved to Corfu. And I think that they've done a very good job at hiring people from the places that the characters are from. Like, I think all of the Greek characters are played by Greek people, and characters from other places are played by the places with their nationalities, which is really nice. The whole thing is set on Corfu, except for a few specific scenes. And it's just so good. I barely remember anything about the book, but I really enjoyed it. And I'm sad it's over. I want to reread the book. I will. I found it on my bookshelf, like the same copy that I read. So yeah, I need to find a new fun series to watch with my parents. And I will keep knitting these socks as I do so. I've also been working on a test knit for the past, I think, about 2 weeks. I'm not supposed to show it anywhere until the pattern comes out. It's a cardigan, and it's going to be in Lina magazine. That's coming out in the autumn. So I put quite a good amount of time and energy into that as well. I've knit the body and 1 sleeve, and it's purple. And I think that's all I should say. But I'll show you that as soon as I'm able to. It's quite a tight turnaround, but I'll try and finish the 2nd sleeve soon, so I don't have to worry about it. But I did buy yarn for that project, so that's an acquisition, but I can't really show it because I'm not supposed to show anything about it. But I bought a sweater's quantity of purple Jamieson and Smith, and mohair from Rowan. And it's not as soft as I remember the Rowan mohair being, but as I'm knitting it up, I'm really loving the color and I'm growing to like the texture more as well. I think I'm going to end up brushing this so it's like really fuzzy, but I don't think I'll do that until the pattern's released in case they need like pictures or measurements or something. So I have bought yarn since I last spoke with you, but most of it's already been used, which is the way I like to do it. I really struggled for a few years with buying too much yarn and just accumulating so much. And then the knitted in was also a problem for me because I was really buying that at just so much of a faster rate than I could use it. But now I feel pretty happy and settled with my yarn buying. I feel very viscerally aware of how much I need to knit to finish like a skein of sock yarn, for example. Whereas I really wasn't in the past. I was always like throwing a couple of skeins into my basket. And some of the yarn from Stash that I'm using that I didn't store, I stored in a beautiful way, but not in a thoughtful way, is a bit dusty now. So as I'm using it, I'm also like gaining awareness of the best ways to store yarn. Like these skeins used to be up on the top shelf of this bookcase for about a year, and they're quite dusty to work with. And it sort of makes me sneeze, and I just will be, I've learned my lesson. Things are going to stay free from moths, free from dust, in their little plastic or whatever cotton bags. And yeah, I've done some growing, some learning over the past year or so. And I'm really enjoying using it. I have a lot of really nice stuff. And yeah, that's nice. And exciting maybe only for me, now all of my knitted in fits into one Ziploc big storage container. It was in 3 before, and I've used so much of it that now it all fits into one. So I maybe have one more sweater quantity and then a couple odds and ends, and then I will have thoroughly loved and used all of the knitted in that I have ever bought. So that's really good. Makes me feel happy. I'm rambling now because I kind of don't want the video to end, but I won't keep you. I just want to say thank you to those of you who've been watching. I really appreciate it. I love reading the comments, and I really take into account everything that you're saying. Thank you for the advice on the neckline of the wave sweater. That was really useful for me. I really enjoy having this video, having this channel. It makes me feel connected only to the good parts of the knitting community. And I apologize if I've been a bit vague about my surgery. It just felt kind of spooky to talk about it before it happened. But it's over now. I have smaller breasts, which is awesome. Or it will be once I'm actually more healed. I'm about a month out, and yeah, everything's going really well. So I feel very lucky about that. I hope to see you soon. This video won't go up for a little bit because I accidentally pre-filmed and I'm 2 videos behind uploading. So I'll be releasing on every other week schedule for the foreseeable future. And I will talk to you in about 2 weeks. Thank you so much for watching. Goodbye.